Yellow, everyone, your favorite night owl here, out on this unfortunately sunny day. Talk about rifle selection as part of the Riflery 101 series. Before we get started, like, share, and subscribe, and check out the link below to my Subscribestar account under DSR Verulven Pack. For a $2 monthly donation, help a small creator out. We have a new feline assistant for the day, as I gave the other one the day off. Aw, ain't they adorable. Quick safety check. Magazine is clearly empty. Nothing in this chamber. Nothing in this chamber. Magazine is not inserted, and the bolt is clearly removed. We have two rifles selected for today's video. An SKS on loan for my younger brother for the sake of this video, and my Savage 11 Scout. They each have a distinct action which have their place in this video. A bolt gun in the case of the Savage 11 Scout, and a semi in the case of the SKS. Go beans, go beans. Let's get on with it, shall we? Today's video can be broken down into 3 sections: hunting, defense, and of course, competition. We'll start with hunting. Hunting comes down to average weight of the game and the general distance that you can expect to take it, or you desire to take said game. Out of today's rifles, the SKS fires 7.62 by 39, which I would feel comfortable out of this SKS taking a 200-pound animal out to 200 yards. Out of the Scout rifle, on the other hand, I'd feel comfortable taking a 400-pound animal out at 200 yards and a 200-pound animal out at 400 yards. Go beans, go beans. In the case of actions, you can find a lot more bolt guns in suitable hunting calibers for your game than you can usually find semis, although there are a number of semis on the market in cartridges for a variety of ranges, although they tend to be a bit more on the expensive side, and there are a lot more budget-friendly bolt guns. We have here the 2 rounds in question, 7.62 by 39 and 308. Cool beans, cool beans. If you're taking particularly heavy game, such as, say, a 1,000-pound animal at 200 yards, you're looking really into magnum caliber rifles, which you can almost exclusively find in bolt gun. However, there are semis on the market in large enough calibers to effectively use on particularly large game, but they are quite expensive. Although many dangerous game rifles, which are suited to short-range hunting of particularly large animals, happen to also be quite expensive, and long-range hunting as well. Although, we can now move on to defense. Defense can be subdivided into what is your primary concern. Is your primary concern 2-legged problems or 4-legged problems? 4-legged problems, much the same applies as to hunting. What's the average weight of the problem game? And what average distance you intend to deal with said problem, to be polite. If it's 4-legged game, that tends to be the problem. A bolt gun is just fine if your primary concern is 4-legged problems. If your primary concern is 2-legged problems, semis are your best option. And in intermediate calibers, although you can find also, this does come down to the average range or the range you desire to be able to reach out and deal with said problem. For example, out of this SKS, I'd feel comfortable going out to 400 yards for a 2-legged problem. Although, as with hunting, if it's a 4-legged problem, I'd only feel comfortable out to 200 yards. With the Scout rifle, I'd feel comfortable for a four-legged problem of a 400-pound or even 600-pound at 100 yards dealing with a four-legged problem. However, that's not always an easy choice. The problems that a bolt gun can handle is definitely in the four-legged department. Although with drilling, you can become proficient enough to be able to use a bolt gun effectively in property and home defense, which goes further in the subclassifications. Home defense is within the confines of your home, so take that into account. Then you have property defense, which can include your general property, which means if you have a large yard or particularly large property such as a farm, maybe a decent sized estate, then, or you just happen to live in an area where there's a lot of open space or woodlands, then you might have to take into separate considerations. Alrighty then. Moving on, shall we? Competition. That comes down to what competition you are in, or interested in general into joining. A lot of modern competition shooting is centered around semis, although there are competition shooting for bolt guns, but they tend to be long-range shooting matches. However, there are competitions out there for compact or milsurp bolt guns out there. You just have to look. It depends on what you're desired to get into. Also, consider these competitions is what ranges do these competitions operate at? Are they predominantly short-range defensive shooting competitions, or are they mid to long-range competitions? Although, I'd only feel comfortable under an emergency taking the scout rifle out to 500-600 yards, although with 308, if you absolutely had to, 800 yards is doable. Although you might want something a little bit better than a 1 to 4 power scope. Cool beans, cool beans. You have to take into account features. Back into defensive shooting. A lot of defensive shooting involves rapid movements. So, as does hunting and that. There's a lot of commonalities between the various groups and some crossovers. A decent hunting rifle can be used in long-range competition, for example. A decent defense rifle can also be used for hunting, such as this SKS, as yes, it is quite effective at two-legged defensive problems. It can also be used for short-range hunting against targets of roughly 200 pounds of the four-legged variety. Alrighty then. The scout rifle, while primarily concerned with four-legged problems, out at 400 yards can be effective with drilling, with dealing with two-legged problems. Oh, slip of the tongue there. You're dealing with something with 200 legs, you have a bit more issues than, say, what rifle you're going to choose. Alrighty then. Let's move on to some channel news, as that pretty much sums it up. Channel news, these IRL videos will be continued to be uploaded to BitChute and YouTube. Although YouTube will also be receiving streams, mostly of Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation, if you're interested. These IRL videos will be tabletopped, and there are walk and talks on the way once weather improves. It gets particularly windy around here, which ain't great for the sound equipment. And I mostly shoot this by hand. Alrighty then. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out the link below to my Subscribeshare account. Just a $2 monthly donation. Help a small creator out. Thank you for your time, and I guess I'll see everyone around.